Hi, everyone. This is Maheen, and welcome to the CanadianSME Small Business Podcast. Today, we are discussing the difference between working harder and working smarter with your numbers. In 2026, clarity is the ultimate competitive advantage, yet many business owners remain stressed because their financial systems haven't kept pace with their growth. Joining us is Depo Ogunruku, a chartered professional accountant and the founder of Outsourced Finance. With over 15 years of experience, including leading major finance transformations at Deloitte, Depo specializes in helping Canadian SMEs move from manual chaos to modern cloud accounting. She's here today to show us how to turn clear numbers into a plan of growth. So without further ado, let's dive in and welcome Depo. Depo, it's a pleasure having you on the show today. Welcome to the podcast. How are you?
Good, thank you. Thank you so much for having me.
Of course, very pleased to have you with us. And we'd love to kind of open our discussion by understanding the modern finance transformation, Depo. I mean, you've taken such a high level expertise for firms like Deloitte, and you tailored it specifically for the Canadian small business owner. Tell us, how is cloud technology transforming small business finance?
Cloud technology really brings solutions that's been available to big businesses to small businesses, and it's the ability to get real-time financial information. So it goes beyond the bookkeeping. So systems like QuickBooks, Xero really allows you to integrate your business day to day into your accounting system. So the key touch point is captured using cloud. So just a simple thing is if you sell products online, for example, as a small business, as the sale happens, then your cloud base takes that out of the inventory, triggers postal services to pick up those products from your warehouse, and really streamlines automation in an affordable manner. And it takes finance from just being administrative, like I need to do my taxes, I need to invoice my client, to actually becoming more strategic in terms of when do you need to reorder? Is your price competitive? How frequently has your customer come in to your store and is looking to purchase from you? So you're able to make better decisions just looking at cloud technology for your business.
Right, right. That is very insightful, Deborah. I mean, it tells us that automating the administrative heavy lifting, it allows for a founder to really stop being a data entry clerk, and start being a true CEO. Now let's explore the gap between profitability and cash flow. Tell us, why do profitable businesses still struggle with cash flow?
I think a lot of businesses just focus on the P&L, because when you look at your P&L, your profits and loss, you're like, okay, I've made this much revenue and I have this much expense, but then you don't have cash in the bank. So profits basically is what is the end result of your cash flow. So cash flow is actually as your suppliers pay, have you paid your suppliers on time? Have your customers paid you on time? But the key thing that I've noticed with SMEs when they have cash flow issue is really their pricing strategy. In terms of, are you pricing your product correctly? Are you pricing your services correctly? Because really that's what it boils down to. Because you need, and that's where your cloud technology comes to play in terms of your actual overhead. It's not only looking at the cost of your product, it's the cost of your admin, your overhead, other things that takes place for you to actually make that sale. So once that's really resolved in terms of pricing, making sure your positioning in the market is also correct, then you see that actually manifesting in the your profitability and also your cash flow management. So really, it's that mismatch that I see in pricing strategy, and really just for SMEs to take a step back. I know there's a lot of influence when you want to think about your pricing. You worry about your customer, what your customer can afford. You worry about what your competitors are also charging, but really taking that into holistic approach, looking at all those factors and setting the right price and making sure your business can operate within those margins. A lot of times that's often missed out, and because you have not really done the pricing strategy, the cost strategy, you start seeing that impact in your cash flow. So really it boils down to poor visibility of your numbers and also just planning ahead, and just waiting for year end to do your taxes. That doesn't give you that ability to plan ahead in terms of your pricing.
Hmm. It really tells us that how do we identify that cash flow is squeezed by poor systems rather than as lack of sales. is the aha moment, that saves most businesses from failure. So it's really important that we identify that cash flow just squeezed by our internal systems and are trapped. Next up, let's look at avoiding common financial mistakes. Deborah, what common financial mistakes should business owners avoid?
In with a lot of Canadian SMEs, because they're either family owned and people are running as sole proprietorship, is the a bit it's separating business from personal expenses. As an accountant, I see that a lot, and it's really key to be able to know the profitability of your business as a standalone, so that you can make better decisions. So it's not only just in terms of your taxes, it's just the real time decisions. Because if you mix those, it really does create tax risk for you. It makes it impossible to understand the true performance of your business. The other thing is ignoring compliance until deadline. I think sometimes small businesses can be quite reactive. It's usually when the June deadline is approaching or the March deadline is approaching that we start thinking about the compliances that are affecting our business. And not only tax compliance, looking at other factors, legislative compliance that actually affects your business, because that effectively translates in your profitability and also your cash flow. Because if you hit by fines later on down the line that you were not aware of, that really becomes detrimental to your business. So really looking at those and the rate impact. And then the other thing is operating without financial systems. A lot of business owners really just believe that they can Excel their way through. Excel is not a financial system, and just being able to understand there's a science and there's legislation around how accounting is done. Bookkeeping is just not off the bat, and being able to get that in place not only for compliance but again data mining for your business. I think it's key that small businesses understand. The mistake they make is when they don't understand that finance actually touches, accounting touches every single part of their business. And the quicker they have a financial system in place so that they can get those information through, be able to understand their business better and fully take control of their finances, their business, their accounting, the decision making in their business, the better it is for them to remain sustainable, profitable, and have the cash flow for growth.
No, this is really important to understand how do we avoid the biggest financial mistakes. And building a foundation, you're absolutely right that building a foundation of clean data and regular reporting, it removes the stress of the unknown and really provides a clear roadmap for scaling. And to all the contractors, real estate owners, and consultants that are watching us in 2026, I'll figure out the taxes later. It's really not the strategy. So if you're constantly stressed about making payroll or your GST filings, you don't have a sales problem, you have a systems problem. So please, whether you're attending the Ask the Expert session, just look into cleaning up your books today and remember that you can't scale what you don't measure. Thank you so much, Depo, for kind of highlighting this important topic for our listeners. Now let's explore when to scale your finance function. When should a business hire a CPA or fractional CFO?
When you start asking yourself, should I hire a new employee? Do I need to expand? Do I need to get a new location? That's when you actually need advisory and you need to start thinking about getting a CPA or a CFO in place, because it's not just about bookkeeping anymore. You need somebody that can look at your numbers, help you interpret it, and also forecast and model the decisions you're going to make, because sometimes it's a feel good decision and the numbers do not actually support it, or the market doesn't support it at that particular time. Right now, considering the economic challenges that's happening in Canada, a lot of businesses are wary about scaling, but that might not be the truth for every single business. It depends on your sector, it depends on the demand for your particular sector, and it could also be a market advantage to to actually scale now, while a lot of people actually scaling back. So it's important to actually get an advisor in place for you at that point. And again, once your revenue is starting to hit the 500,000 to 1 million mark per annum, you need a CPA and you also need a CFO, because that actually becomes you need to develop your tax strategy. Now, tax strategy is not just about compliance at the end of the year. Again, it's driven by a financial model, looking at the decisions you want to make. A good tax strategy is almost built for a 5-year period, and the ability for it to adapt to different legislation that's coming out or is about to come out is quite important. And that's when you're actually starting to go beyond bookkeeping at that point. And also you need when your cash flow also becomes unpredictable, when you don't know where you're going, you need a CPA. I know right now a lot of businesses are like, I can't afford it. The market is not doing well, but this is a good time to even just get a 1 hour or 2 hour consult with a CPA to help you think through how to remain sustainable during this challenging economic conditions that's going forward. They hold a lot of knowledge and a lot of information, and also industry knowledge, industry expertise that can really help your business during challenging times as well.
There's no doubt that investing in professional finance oversight early on, it pays off for itself by uncovering the hidden inefficiencies and preventing costly compliance errors. Finally, let's look at how do we prepare for growth in 2026. I know we're almost 5 months into it. It's almost half the year has gone by, but Deborah, what financial systems are essential for growth in the rest of the 2026?
I think I'm really recommending for small businesses getting a cloud-based system in, and also because they are supported by a suite of ecosystems of apps that you can put into it. So for example, if you're a contractor and you want to put in a Java system, so that allows you to actually get your clients, service them, invoice them immediately, and this feeds into an accounting system like QuickBooks or Xero. If you're a builder, for example, there's a lot of systems to put in place that apps you can connect. Like Builder Trends, for example, is a great one where you can interact with your customers, interact with your vendors, and be able to do your day-to-day. And you don't realize it, but the accounting is automatically happening behind, and you can make real-time decisions on each project. So it's really important as a lot of contractors are going into busy season right now to have those structures in place during spring. Make sure you've set it up so as you're delivering the job, you can measure the profitability of it and you're not reactive at the end of the year. The other thing is cash flow forecasting. It's paramount that every business has a cash flow forecast in place, especially going through this economic times we're going through. So that will just help in terms of how you're making decisions, what's important, and how you prioritize it as well. So it's important that that's in place, and just key dashboards. You don't have to monitor everything, but as a business, just having 3 key things that's important to you that you want to track. And it's really important that you have this conversation with your advisor, your accountant, and then just track those 3 on a daily basis. As you start your day, track those 3 KPIs with a dashboard. At the end of your day, as your closure, track those 3, and you'll start to see the impact and the difference it has in your business and the way you make business decisions.
Embracing a tech-first approach to accounting ensures that our business remains agile and compliant in an increasingly digital economy. This was such a great conversation with you, Depo. Thank you so much for walking us through how important it is to look into your finances, restart preparing for the 2026 growth. As we wrap up, what advice would you give to owners that are overwhelmed by their finances?
Start simple, but start structured. So it's not the complexity of what you put in. As your business grows, the complexity can come in later. But start simple, but start with a structure that you can then grow with. So that's the key thing. The other thing is focus on cash first, not profit. So make your decision as a cash business, because cash at the end of the day is king. And then the third thing I would like to say is don't do it alone. You need the right advisor, and they will pay for themselves over time. So do not try to do it alone. You need the right accounting advisor by your side. You need the right lawyers by your side. They're key specialists that you need for the success of your business, and get them from the start, and they'll pay for themselves as the business succeeds.
That is a great reminder that clarity begins with the very first step of organizing your data. Thank you so much, Depo, for your time and for sharing such great expertise and your vision with us.
Thank you so much for having me.
And listeners, that was Depo Ogunruku from Outsourced Finance CPA, a masterclass on how to bridge the gap between big firm expertise and the practical needs of the Canadian small business owner. Thank you so much for tuning into the podcast. Please be sure to subscribe and visit CanadianSME.ca for more resources. To learn more about how we are supporting the ecosystem, please visit Canadian SME Small Business Foundation at smbfoundation.ca. And a special shout out to our partners, UPS and ADP, for their ongoing commitment to empowering small businesses across Canada. Please keep thriving, and we'll see you in the next one.